Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we discuss every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
I'm Skylar.
And I am Dirk Strider.
And today we are discussing Series 5, Episode 6, The Vampires of Venice by my boy, Toby Whithouse. I would like to say, before we get started here, that I was thinking about Toby Whithouse's episodes that he has written for the show, and I've kind of come to realize that, like, he writes those episodes that they're, like, usually mid-season, and when you're just thinking about them, like, divorced from, like, the context of, like, watching these through critically, or, like, you haven't watched them in a while, you're just like, yeah, those are good episodes. And then with almost every single one of them, when you actually go back and rewatch them, you're like, oh, these are bangers.
Sleeper hits.
Like, he has written School Reunion, which, as mentioned, is one of my personal favorites. This episode, The God Complex, A Town Called Mercy, Under the Lake and Before the Flood, and Believe the Lamb, but we're not going to talk about that because that's not his fault that one sucks ass.
Okay, this is interesting to me. I did not remember this episode at all, which is very weird because every episode we've watched, we have at least a vague recollection of. But I started this episode and I was like, I have no idea what this episode is.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it any way through. And so it's very interesting. And I absolutely agree. Now I'm definitely going to remember this episode because it was very good.
I remembered that this episode happened, but I don't remember a lot of the interesting dynamic stuff that you remember from it, because the other thing that I think Toby Whithouse is really strong about is he's very good at, like, character writing and character dynamic writing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, when you think about School Reunion, you think about what it does for Sarah Jane and Rose and the Doctor, and what it does for Mickey, and that interesting dynamic that you have between Ten and Mr. Finch, etc.
Yeah. And I think for this episode, you know, you really for both this one and that one, you get this sense of, like, tension. It's a social situation that's tense for the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which you don't always get, and he's very good at writing that.
There's also there's also subconscious horniness subtext in the interactions between the Doctor and the villain.
Horny 11, but good horny 11. You'll love to see it.
No, that's the thing. Like, this episode, you know, it definitely plays into the Doctor being a bit of a bumbling autist, which we love him for.
Yeah.
But it does it in a very good way, unlike, you know, later Moffat. Like, the thing is, like, Eleven's absolutely doing his, like, you know, charge, you know, innocent but very sexually charged thing. Like, definitely in the early scenes where he, like, pops out the cake and stuff. Like, that whole interaction was just, that was good. It was good shit.
Yeah, it doesn't come off, it comes off more as the, like, I'm an alien and I'm bumbling through this bullshit, and then realizing it's like, oh wait, that's not a thing I should be doing. But yeah, I completely agree with the characters. There was a lot of parallels I noticed this time around between School Reunion and this episode, specifically with how it's the companions, or at least one companion, kind of confronting the Doctor on their bullshit. Yeah. There's some
it's the beginning of the chatification arc for both of the boyfriends.
Exactly.
We stand Toby Whithouse for helping the process to make our boys into Giga Chads. Anyway, so yes. We open with a so we open with this scene of a Venetian man basically giving his daughter to this school run by lady or what's her title?
Signora
Rosanna, who is played by a actress who I unfortunately mainly know for her work in the Harry Potter films, but she's a good actress there and she's a good actress here, so...
What does she do in the Harry Potter movies? This is one connection I don't know.
She's Narcissa Malfoy, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow. Okay. I need to turn in my fan card. Not that I already should have, but fuck. I'm slipping.
Yeah. So a side note here, there's this very interesting thing of like the man and his daughter, the man Guido and his daughter Isabella are both played by people of color, and I'm just thinking about, man, I mean there probably was, but like you didn't really hear about like I can't really remember reading about there being any public outcry of like it's not historically accurate or whatever. Like it was just an interesting, like I never picked up on it before, but it's an interesting thing that I noticed in the casting of this episode.
Yeah, I don't know this much about this particular era of Italy to know if this was like a really outdated term, but like how Shakespeare would say like the Moors of Italy,
yeah.
or whatever.
No,
whatever
they were in Spain. They were in Spain, but yes.
Well,
okay, there you go. I don't.
Yeah, the Moors would have been in Spain, but there was, since Venice was a trade city, it's very likely that there would have been Africans in there because there was, the whole Mediterranean trade system. So I don't think it's totally unlikely.
Point being, the majority of what I know about this city comes from Assassin's Creed 2. I am not an authority here, except to say that the son of the fish lady looks a lot like Ezio's older brother and almost has he has almost the exact same fucking name. Ezio's brother is Federico and this is Francesco. So
nice.
Coincidence? You decide.
Anyways, so yes. And then we cut to Rory at his stag party trying to call Amy. And we, of course, have the scene of 11 jumping out of the cake, which, again, I would just like to say that if this episode was in Series 6 or Series 7, his cock would have been out. It would have been out, man.
True.
Like that's when we get into, like, the peak, like, Moffat being like, Matt Smith not wearing any clothes is funny, right, guys?
Yeah. It's good 11 awkward and not... Moffat 11 awkward.
Yeah. And I respect, like, it's something that I do respect very much about 11's character, where it is almost like he recognizes the Rose situation happening and is like, no, I'm not letting that shit happen again. I need to deal with this now, and basically just pulling him along to like, all right, sort your shit out. So yeah, we reach Venice proper, which again, I would just like to say this episode, I mean, not this episode, this season and Moffat era fucking knocking it out of the park with the cinematography and like visual look of everything.
Totally.
Like, I believe they filmed this episode not in Venice, but in Croatia. But like, I mean, I haven't been to Venice, but it definitely like, it looks right, you know?
It gave the right vibes, yeah.
If you don't know what Venice looks like, it gives the right vibes. I could tell it wasn't Venice just because I've seen enough pictures of Venice. It did look it did look Adriatic, that's for sure. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You could get away with saying this is past Venice. It's definitely not modern.
Yeah. It's not modern Venice. Yeah, no, it can definitely pass for a Venice, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a throwaway line about, so they get stopped by this dude who's like, oh, there's a quarantine in here, and they get stopped by this dude, and 11 uses his psychic paper, and I think it says that like he's like the fucking the Pope or something. I think.
It's probably like a bishop or something.
Yeah. And then Amy is like a countess and Rory is her fucking eunuch. That's an actually good kind of horny Moffat. I mean, it's not a Moffat joke, but like, it's an actually kind of good joke. I'm not gonna lie.
There's a bunch of that through this episode where it's just like, you don't remember this episode having bangers, but when you hear the joke, you're just like, okay, yeah that's good.
Like, Christ, there's just straight up like penis-sized jokes in this episode, and it's actually
Oh,
good.
yes. There are,
and it's actually
there are,
funny as opposed to cringe.
There are just so many good lines between the Doctor and Rory. Like
Yeah.
the whole sequence about like, okay, well, referring to the Doctor, you bring Amy in, and you can pretend to be her fiance, and then Rory's like, no, we're not doing that. He's like, all right, Rory, you can be her fiance. No, I don't think you can pass for her fiance. And he's like, and then the other guy just chimes in like, wait, I thought the Doctor was your fiance.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
It was just very good banter.
Like, it's like the dynamics like this where you really sort of realize, like, from what I remember, Rory was supposed to be a more of a, like, bit or off character. And then you sort of realize that, like, you get the sense that, like, the production team realized, like, oh, Arthur Darvill's really good. We can't let him go.
They got really lucky with this dynamic, and I suspect that at least most of my enjoyment of Series 6 and half of Series 7 will probably be, like, based on the chemistry alone.
Rory carrying everything on his back.
Basically.
As usual.
So yeah, they got lucky, and the fact that they got Toby to nail this right off the bat. And an episode that really isn't even about the Rory and Doctor conflict as much as it should be. We get that
it's
centrally
like that's
named
the
choice.
Setup. Yeah, that's the setup, but like that's not.
Yeah. The fact that they got away with like not tackling it head on and making it seem natural is, again, it's not amazing. This isn't human nature, but it's good.
Yeah.
And it helps support the series arc.
It's like, it's not human nature, but if we had an entire season where, like, all of the filler, the episodes that we would traditionally consider filler were of this quality, it would be one of the best. Actually, that's just season 4. That's literally just basically what season 4 is like an entire season of episodes that's like this quality.
No, yeah. What this is reminding me of, it's different because Doctor Who is not as linear as almost any other show, but like The Mandalorian does a great job of like, there's a lot of episodes that are quote unquote filler that only advance the series arc a little bit, but they do good stuff within those individual episodes to like do character work or set up things for later, and it doesn't feel like tacky or anything. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like the vibe that Series 4 and Series 5 so far are giving off in regards to that.
Yeah, definitely. Amy and Rory and the Doctor get split up. The Doctor sees Guido attempting to get his daughter back and that not working out, and is like, I sense an opportunity for adventure. And then Amy and Rory just wander off and happen to find someone getting chomped on. Which, narrative plot convenience, but, whatever.
Fucking
it's a 45-minute
Federico Auditore.
Yeah. It's a fucking 40-minute episode, man. What do you want? We have this great scene in the basement where, like, despite the fact that 11 is being surrounded by, like, for the time scantily dressed young women, you get the sense that his excitement is not because of that, but because he's like, oh, you guys are doing a cool mirror trick. Yo, that's cool. How do you do that? And he just, like, leaves. It's like, like, as you said, 11 being an autist.
I love him. as a fellow autist, just like I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, as I said, I really like this 11, and I like, it's a shame because I know it's going to kind of go away, but like, especially even in this episode, like, I mean, this might just be my memory failing me, but it feels like as he goes on, he like snaps at people a lot less. And you get this sense, at least in series series 5, that like if shit gets real, he will like just snap at someone and be like, "All right, listen, enough with this shit." Yeah. And you got it last week, you get it here later, and it's just a very, very interesting dynamic.
I think we need a drinking game for me every time I bring up that I would like to see a version of Series 8 where 11 got more mean. Because it's so good.
Jesus Christ, Skylar. It's like every week at this point.
It's several times an episode, I think.
Hey. You get Chibnall bad. I get Series 8 Evan good.
I haven't even... There have been places where I could have said Chibnall bad this week, and I deliberately didn't.
What's our thing? We don't have a thing.
Oh, well.
Is our thing just thirsting for people in the show? I guess.
Yeah,
so.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
In that case, the fish mommy, she's like.
Yeah.
that was not from me. That was from somebody else, and I just happen to be the one fronting.
Yeah.
I am gay.
Anyway.
Your thing is to occasionally drop something that like makes both of us laugh cry for like 5 minutes. That's your thing.
Yeah. Or discuss the socio-political ramifications of this totally unrelated thing.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, if you think about it, the aliens in this episode are basically the aquatic trolls from Homestuck.
Oh yeah, no, that's your thing. Homestuck, that's your thing. Dragging Homestuck into this, kicking and screaming.
I have no reference for this.
Anyway, small little bit. He holds out an ID card and it's got a picture of William Hartnell on it. That's
his
funny
library card.
Yeah. Which is funny because, like, I don't know. William Hartnell does, like, the first Doctor does not necessarily strike me as someone to have his own library card. I think he'd just have his own collection in the TARDIS library. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked, but, like, I'm trying to think which Doctor would, like, absolutely. Oh, 5. 5, definitely. Maybe 8, though he also seems like someone who would lurk in the TARDIS library. I'm getting off track. We need to talk about the actual episode. So yeah, like, hey, it's vampire. See, there's this very interesting thing here where, like, they'll do the same thing that RTD had, where it's like pulpy, like, genre shit in a Doctor Who setting, but where RTD would do shit like the vampire in Smith and Jones is someone who drinks blood out of someone with a straw. Like, in this case, it's literally just like more classic styled vampires, or like it's just dinosaurs on a spaceship, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that about it. I will say it's not really a complaint, but when you hear about like how they convert people, it's just straight up like magic. The science makes no fucking sense, but it's just like, I've said it 1,000 times, if you have something stupid, but do something like good and fun with it, I'm on board.
Yeah, I don't care.
And that's this episode.
Like, the characters are good. Whatever.
Exactly.
This is Doctor Who anyway, not fucking like The Expanse. This shit ain't hard sci-fi.
Definitely not.
As has been discussed, Moffat era is almost fantasy at points. So, like, anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we get that aforementioned scene where it's like, go in as your, you should go in as her fiance. That scene.
I will say the guy that plays Guido, like, not just in comedy, but everything, like, that's a very solid guest actor. I've seen him in other things. I forget what other things right now, but he's good.
Mm-hmm. Um. So we get some Chad Rory moments, especially. I gotta shout it out to the line that Rory has where he's like, what's dangerous about you is not that you make people want to take risks, it's that you make them want to impress you.
That
That's
was
so
such a good
good.
line.
So
That's a
good.
fucking Chad Rory line, man.
And the thing is, he's right. Like that's what makes
Yeah.
that scene really good.
Yeah.
It also distinguishes him from Mickey in that, like,
Yeah.
Mickey would not say that right away, but
Oh,
here,
well, I don't even think Mickey would say that because Mickey is would absolutely be one of those people.
yeah, he becomes one of those people, which is why I kind of, again, I like the distinction, and it's why one of my few
Yeah.
actual complaints, not like nitpicky sci-fi complaints, is that by the end, Rory's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll go back and help you. And it
Yeah.
kind of isn't really like, there's no real arc or change or impetus for that. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, now I'm okay with helping you and running into danger, which, whatever.
45 minute syndrome.
Exactly. It's the moment is good when it happens. The Rory Doctor dynamic when they're infiltrating the castle, pure gold with the dialogue.
Also, shout out to fucking Amy, who, like, despite having had, like, blood and water drained out of her body, gets a solid kickoff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Christ, I don't even think, like, as you all know, I am a, like, Donna or Martha stan, but I don't even think they would have managed to get that kickoff. That's such, like, a uniquely Amy thing to do.
It's the Amy Legs
Maybe
meme.
Ace.
Yeah.
She does have banger legs. Again, not me speaking. One of the other ones.
That's what you always say. No, yeah.
I feel the need to reiterate I am a homosexual.
Anyways, so
Neat.
so yeah, I will say there is the one dodgy effect here, and this has continually been like a thorn in like Doctor Who's side for like years, is that one bit where he gets like where Eleven gets like electrocuted. Like they still were not able to like come up with like a good electrocution effect on this show. It looks pretty bad.
It's like a step up from the 1977 R2D2 getting hit with the
Yeah.
with the electricity gun.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure what was it that had like a really bad shock effect. I can't remember if it was like something like a bonus episode or if it was like actual New Who, just RTD era. Whatever. Anyways, so we get to really, and again, like now that I realize that this is the same person who wrote School Reunion, like I kind of realized like the fact that like this has a very same vibe to the pool scene with Ten and Mr. Finch. But at the same time, it's still a banger scene with some great actors, so like I can't really fault it.
Yeah, it's good when the Doctor is just alone with the alien that knows what he is, and he can just kind of like act his age, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's an interesting like Doctor Who like doesn't do this often, but like whenever you do get a villain that's like I don't know how to put this, not like sentience or intelligence, but I guess like level of consciousness or whatever, like different from like the Daleks or the Cybermen, someone who's more of a match of wits, I guess.
Yeah.
Like every time they do that, it's really good. I feel like I can't think of a time when they do that and it's cringe. Anyways. And of course the thing where he basically says like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up because like you didn't even remember the name of this person that you executed. which, yeah, that's going to piss him off. That's almost a 10 thing, almost.
No second chances. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get the scene where he's like, stop talking, brain thinking, hush.
That's good.
Which, yeah, that as someone else on the spectrum, yeah, I can relate to that.
Shut the fuck up and let me think.
Yeah. Yeah. And the visual gag where he motions at Rory to reach out and cover Guido's mouth with his hand. Can we just take a moment to talk about how the plot of this episode is turning impressionable young ladies into aliens so they can get fucked by fish dudes? Because, like, when you think about it, that's what the plot of this episode is.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about that. But do we want to?
No, the question is, would you be down to be fucked by the fish dude?
No.
I'm not down to be fucked by human dudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dirk. Head count. How many people in your system would say yes to that?
Oh, that's odd. I'm gonna say at least 4.
Okay. That's what I thought. Anyways, okay, so what's next? Oh yeah. We have yet another one of those Moffat lines. Like, we can recognize the Moffat line at this point where Eleven is like, blimey, the people upstairs are very noisy, and Guido's like, there aren't any people upstairs, and he's like, all right, well.
Who knew he was gonna say that?
Yeah. Although in that case, that's more a comedic version than like the like, no, they were this wasn't this was this the entire time. Whoa.
Music sting, yeah.
Yeah. We get the great line, which is if you had to put a line from this episode on a box of a single, like a DVD single episode release, the quote would be 11 saying, blimey, fish from space have never been so buxom. You know, if you
That's
asked
on a porn
me,
parody.
if you asked me what I would have thought of that line like 3 to 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, that's cringe, bro. But now I'm just like, yeah, all right. Okay, man.
Go for it, dude. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
It says a lot when we see a line like that, and that's just like, yeah, that's him when he's restrained.
Yeah. Guido blows himself up. F in chat. Rest in piss.
I will say it was notable that at least at first, the first 2 people to die are
I didn't even think
black
of that.
characters.
Oh dear. Oh dearie me.
With Isabella, it's cringe. With Guido, I can at least see an argument that it's just like he decided to go out that way, and it wasn't just like a
he goes out on
fridge.
his own terms. Yeah, he goes out on his own terms.
Yeah, so it's not the worst example I can think of that, but it's just like, you know what, I guess it's a fucking wash. I'm not a sociologist. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not X-Men, the X-Men one where the guy who dies his power is not dying.
Oh yeah, X-Men.
Oh yeah, First Class. I completely fucking forgot about that. Holy shit. I didn't even think about that. God damn.
Let's go, Marvel. Let's bring him back. Anyways, that's a different show.
Yeah. But yeah, we get we get the thing that I was talking about where like uh like 11 is literally like go back to the TARDIS, and Amy's like, no, I want to help you, and he's like, no, go the fuck back to the TARDIS. And it's just, again, that level of like the facade cracking under pressure that like I feel like goes away after this season. I might be wrong, but it feels like it does to me.
This is an 11 that feels like he just lost everything, which 10 basically did. So
yeah, definitely. So yeah, we get this we get this scene, which honestly, like, I know it's supposed to be embarrassing, but honestly, Chad Rory moment where he's fucking fighting the goddamn the other vampire, Francesco, and he's like trying to like draw aggro basically, and is like calls him a big great stupid SpongeBob. Which is just, oh, that's wonderful.
we find out he's a fish mommy's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it's just like, man, some good shit.
And then Amy straight up murders him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is this her first official body count?
I think so.
Nice.
Wait. Other than Rose killing Daleks, what is the RTD companion body count? Because I think it might be 0. I actually genuinely think it might be 0.
No,
question.
didn't Martha mark the old guy Lazarus?
Did she? No, I think that was like, I think that was 10 playing an organ, so he fell to his death. I think. I might be wrong though. Tweet at us if I'm wrong.
Oh, I mean, technically, Donna kills the bug on her back.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but I don't know if that really counts the same. Oh yeah, also there's a pretty janky screen. There's a pretty janky special effect when he's like climbing on the tower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, that's janky. Oh, but we do get like the way that Rosanna decides to go out is such like a memorable scene. And the fact that it is like set up earlier where Francesco is like, yeah, like don't go over there with your perception filter on, otherwise you'll get mistaken for a meal or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good. All of her scenes are really good.
Yeah, the line, can your conscience carry the weight of another dead race? Because, yeah, he totally does, like, I mean, you could make the argument that it wasn't him specifically, but there is definitely a genocide that kind of happens here.
Yeah, this is kind of going back, but since there's really no other good place to talk about it, the way that Rosanna, I think her name's Rosanna,
yes.
The way she talks about what the silence is and how what they met was like devastation and silence, it makes me think
it's way more interesting than what the actual fucking silence were.
Yeah, because like I replaced it with like what we know that is today, and I was just like, yeah, they definitely meant something else.
Yeah.
Like Moffat didn't know what that was and just told Toby, it's just like, yeah, insert this, we don't know what the fuck it is yet, we'll fill that in later in post.
Yeah.
And it made me sad. But
janky
yeah,
foreshadowing, mate.
Her death scene is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, great line. There's the great line where the Amy's like, "Got my spaceship, got my boys," and Rory's like, "We are not her boys," and they're both like, "Yeah, we are."
Make your Moffat wife joke here. They're all good.
That's a good case. That's actually like a good Moffat wife guy moment. As opposed to like the kind of cringe ones. That one's actually pretty good, not gonna lie. I dig that one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah. I guess that's it for this week. Yeah, I think unless there's anything else anybody else wants to talk about in regards to this episode.
I'm good.
All right. So yeah, moving on to ratings. As I said, it's a Toby Whithouse episode. It's really solid, like most of the Toby Whithouse episodes are. It's just a good good shit, man. What can I say? Yeah, it's got like good acting, great location shooting. The script is very well written and has lots of great, interesting little character dynamic stuff going on in it. Yeah, it's a plus. It's a really solid mid-series episode.
Yeah, this was a sleeper hit for me. I remember liking it. I remember it being the Rory joins the TARDIS team episode, so that's cool. But there's really a lot of nuance and extra bits of cool storytelling and character work and setting building and just a cool location overall that you don't really think about when you're like thinking about the episode, but when you see it, it really shines through. There's a couple of character problems for me in regards to like how Rory acts by the end of the episode. Feels a little bit rushed. The third act in general is like pretty weak aside from Guido's death and Signora Rosanna's death. But overall, it ties itself really close together and it sets up the banger episode, Amy's Choice, while still being a fairly good episode in its own right that reinvents the school reunion tropes and arc, but does it for new characters in a pretty good way, if not, as perfect as School Reunion. So I'd give this episode a B-.
I think that
actually, I'll drop it back to an A. It's not like the really poggers shit, but it's still a very solid episode. So yeah, I'd give it an A.
Yeah, it's a really solid episode for sure. Like I said, I think this is the best episode of this season so far. Yeah, there's not much I have to criticize here. It's just a very solid episode, and it's like, whoa, those characters can like do a whole thing without having really painfully cringy moments in the middle of it all. Yeah, it was just all around great. Fucking 9.25 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, just a really, really solid episode. Good on you, Toby Whithouse, my man. You did it again. Anyways, next time we will be discussing another banger episode, Amy's Choice, and I'm very excited about that. This, like, Series 5 has a really solid mid-season. Like, it's got, other than, like, Series 4, I think it's got, like, possibly the strongest mid-season. Oh, Series 4 and Series 1, I think. It's got the strongest mid-season of the Hooniverse. It's real damn good. So yeah, until then, I'm Geoff. You can follow me on Twitter. Oh, wait. Oh, I did it wrong. I did it wrong again. I did it wrong last week, and I didn't notice. So I'm going to do it right this time.
Fuck it.
You can follow the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDIS Pod. You can also support us on Patreon for a number of benefits, such as early access to episodes, the ability to listen in live to recording of episodes, and potentially even the ability to guest star on an episode of your choosing. I am Geoff. You can follow me on Twitter at WheatleyDL and on Twitch at WheatleyDLT.
I'm Casanova's Chicken. You can follow me on Twitter at skyhigh9_5 for all your mediocre shitposting needs.
I am Dirk Strider, and our other account got suspended, so we are now at NessQuixotic.
Ness. Earthbound.
You really nailed that one. You really stuck that landing.
Literally, that was like my brain had like dial-up noises for a second.
I could hear the gears turning. I was like, is he going to say something? I could hear those gears turning. Like, you trying to come up with something, and you just, that's where you ended up. Ness.
I mean, that's the name of my ex-girlfriend, so that your joke was better.
Oh, oof. Oof, ouch, owies.
Bad,
and we will see you all next week.